right, today is my last day here before heading to New Zealand, and I'm gonna show you guys how I pot up tomatoes. I'm just gonna get some of these started. I know Roger and Ellen will probably finish them while I'm gone, but I want to show you that today. But I just wanted to say quickly before we get into this, there are still a few tickets left for the New Zealand workshops, the 1 day and the 4 day. Not very many for the 4 day, but a few. And there's still quite a bit of space left in the 1 day, but we are going to teach the 1 day on the farm now. So you're going to get some hands-on stuff in the field at Roebuck Farm in Taranaki, New Zealand. So we'll be doing that, so that's kind of new. And today is the official end of my application process for the Green City Acres intern this season. So you've got till about midnight tonight, and then I'm going to take the form down. There's already near 100 applicants in there, so I've got my work cut out for me. And I will be, on my website, all the details are there when I'm going to follow up and choose the applicants and so on and so forth. So that's all soon to come. There's still a few people that I haven't gotten the emails from, so I will put their names below. I think it's like 3 or 4 people that didn't put their email in there, so I need your email if you want me to follow up with you. And let's get into these tomatoes. So we start our tomatoes in 128 cell flats, so there's 128 of these per flat. And then they get potted up, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But the first sign that I'm looking for to see if they're ready to pot up is if there's roots starting to emerge from the bottom. And if you look closely there, you can see that there is. They're certainly not in a rush to be potted up, but I'm going to do it now so I can make a video for you guys about how to do it, because I imagine some of you will be doing this soon. All right, to start, 3 different products here. Got my soil. This is a heavier mix. It's called Sunshine Mix 5. It's basically just a potting up mix. There's lots of other options that will work just fine if you can't find Sunshine Mix. Next is my worm castings. That's basically just worm poo. So that's going to be my compost type organic matter nutrient in play here. And then the next one is my Gaia Green 444, just an all-purpose organic fertilizer. It's just a mix of rock dust, alfalfa meal, bone meal, blood meal, stuff like that. Lots of good stuff that will provide nutrients to the plants. So I'm going to mix this soil in just a smaller tote right now, not my big bin there, just because I'm only going to do a little bit. So I'm just going to get some started for the sake of the video here, and I'm just going to open this guy up. This soil just has more, it has larger chunks of vermiculite. That's really the only difference. It's just a less fine mix. Okay, that's all we're gonna need right now. So I got my scoop of fertilizer. This is not an exact measurement. I just eyeball this all the time. It's just, I'll just use half of it. That's good enough. Then my worm castings, same thing. Just a scoop. You know, people always want to know the exact measurement of things. You know, as far as seed goes, I think that's important. But for things like this, it doesn't really matter. Don't sweat the small little details. You know, the beautiful thing about growing organically is that you can't really overdose. You can't really burn your crops from too much stuff, especially if it's a slow release fertilizer like these types of fertilizers. It's not going to hurt the crop. I mean, I'm sure on the extreme end you can have too much and maybe you can have too little, but it's not going to be, you know, just throw some stuff in there and see how it goes, you know. Like, I would say there was probably, in this few shovelfuls of soil I had about 500 mils, if you want to be exact, of fertilizer, and about 800 mils of milliliters, that is, of worm castings. But I didn't measure it. I just dumped in what I felt was the right amount. So now I'm just mixing this stuff up with my hands. I'm gonna mix it real good, and then I'm gonna wet it down to make myself a nice thick mixture. Add some water, mix it around. It's probably good enough for what we need. If I can make kind of a ball and then it falls apart relatively easy, that's good. That's what I'm looking for. All these tomatoes are, these are sweet millions. So I'm gonna pot up some of them, not all of them. And what I like to do is take one of my pots. These are 2.5 inch pots. You can go into a bigger pot. I wouldn't recommend going much smaller. These are probably, for potting up tomatoes, if they're gonna sit in here for another month, these are probably the smallest I would go. In the past I've gone with a 4-inch pot, but we have, our real estate in the greenhouse is precious here, and these tomatoes are gonna go into a heated greenhouse. So I'm not worried so much about these being really big by the time they go on the ground, because I can heat that greenhouse and keep it warm if I'm worried about frost. So smaller pot like this is just right, and these are 32, so we can fit 32 of these in a 10-20 flat. So what I'm going to do, you can just get yourself a wood screw and use that to pop them out. So I pop out my plug. There's my tomato. And I'm just going to do it in here. I'm going to fill a bunch of soil in here. I like to get my pot really tight, like the soil's really strong. And then I'll make myself a nice hole in there, really deep. And then get my tomato right down there, as deep as I can get it. And then cover it back up gently. Add some more soil. One thing you can do if you're worried about dampening off, which is where you get your soil is too wet and your tomato will kind of rot at the base, you can cover the top with vermiculite. And I should have done that, but I don't have any right now, so I'm not going to worry about it, but we will get some when we do the rest of these. So what we do is just sprinkle a nice layer of vermiculite on top, and that stuff dries out fast, and so it keeps this top part of the soil getting too wet, which can cause dampening off. So I'm actually going to leave about 1/4 inch of space on the top so that we can cover these up with vermiculite when we get it. Having said that, what I'm going to do this year is I'm going to keep the cage, the flat, in a bottomless flat, and then these will be watered from the bottom. So the dampening off probably won't be much of an issue. Alright, so that's one flat, and all I do now is label it. That's super, super, super important. So what I'm going to write on here is the crop, like what the tomato is. So it's Sweet Million. It was planted January 4th and potted up January 29th. So I'll just go. Alright, that is my potted up flat of tomatoes. 32 of them in there, packed real tight. It's quite heavy, and you know, the bottom watering thing is something that has helped us huge. And it just you know, when the tomatoes are this fragile and you're watering above, you knock them over, they stick to each other. It doesn't necessarily hurt them, but it does hinder their growth, in my opinion. So I like having the white flat beneath there, and that makes watering it really easy, because we're just going to have them up on this level, and when it comes time to water, you can just take one pot out, put your water in there, and you're good to go. Alright guys, I am off to New Zealand. I'm gonna go pack my bags and I'll circle back with you when I get down there. I've got some really cool people I'm gonna catch up with and make videos with. And everything will be the same here on the farm. Mark works every day, Roger and Len coming in all the time. This place is humming with activity all the time, so not much is going to change on the farmstead here. As the snow's melting, as the weather's turning around, we're going to be doing a lot more action in the field even while I'm gone, and I imagine by the time I get back here we'll be buzzing along and starting to get some field production happening. Well, I hope. It all depends on the weather. Talk to you soon.